Hi folks, Carl Gill here, giving you a little update on the oil situation here in the United States. As we know, it was a very good day for the oil stocks yesterday. Many of them popped about 3 to 5%, and there's a very big reason why that is happening. Just to give you a little update. Remember now that the United States is the largest oil producer in the world, the US and Canada, followed by uh, the Saudi Arabians and the Russians. Well, when you think about this, you have to understand give you a little background on what's happened here because there's two big reasons why oil stocks are popped and they're going to continue to keep popping upward. Number one is the number two producer in the world right after the United States, well, actually, number three producer right after US, Russia is Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia produces a massive amount of oil, and OPEC decided today, as a big surprise, they are cutting oil production by 1.6 million barrels per day. That's a lot. It's a huge amount. And you say, well, why are they cutting? Because they can. Because why do they want to? Because if they cut the production of oil, what do you think happens to the supply? It gets tight. And when supplies are tight, prices go up. So we're going to see oil prices creeping out over the remainder of this year because of it. And so you might ask yourself, well, why are they doing this? Because it's payback time. Payback for what's been happening in the international relationships with the Saudi Arabians for the last year and a half. You may remember under Trump, when he had extremely good relations with Russia, with China, even with China, yes, and with the Saudis. The Saudis gave him a lionized sword dance reception when Trump came to visit Saudi Arabia. President-elect Biden said when he came to, before he came to Saudi Arabia, was they are going to get their just desserts, their despicable regime. They have no redeeming social value in the royal family, and we're going to make them pay. So what do you think the Saudis said to Mr. Biden when he went hand in hand last summer to ask them to increase their oil production? They said, no way. No, thank you. And they said, not only no, thank you, get out of here. And so he's left, and he's also pissed off the Russians, pissed off the Chinese, and they all now collectively have decided to purchase oil not in US dollars, but in Chinese yuan dollars. So that's going to weaken the US dollar dramatically. This is a long term, not a short term happening. And the other thing is that happens is when oil prices are, which are quoted in dollars, if the U.S. dollar is weaker, it's going to make the price of oil go up. And the U.S. dollar is weaker since they decided to start buying everything in Chinese dollars. And guess who's also stepping up to the stage? India. So you have somebody who's kind of gone out of his way to piss off everybody in the world, and they're now giving him paybacks. And on top of that, the timing of seasonality says about oil, oil always goes up in the summer because why? People start driving, they start flying, and they start traveling to see people, friends, and etc. And that's the why oil prices go up. Now, what does this mean long term? Or shall we say medium term? Rising oil prices, rising inflation, but the Fed, because of the weak banking system, really can't do too much about raising interest rates much higher than where they are right now. So we're pretty happy about this because we own a lot of ExxonMobil. And here's how ExxonMobil's been doing very recently. And as you can see, it's been steadily outperforming the U.S. stock market as a whole. And guess what? It has popped recently, and it has gone up from about the 107, 108 area to 116. And we think that it's going to be very shortly here closing in on the 125, 130 area, and very likely will even continue to keep creeping out for the rest of the year. This is a long-term play, not a short-term play. We have a dividend maker on this with this Exxon, and we own it, and we continue to own it and are recommending it to our clients. This is where we're trying to not be, shall we say, super smart in the short term, but super smart in the long term. Because this is a lot of similarities to the 1980s where we saw oil prices take off to stratospheric heights. Another one that's in the same area that's in our portfolio is this guy. You may have ever heard of him, Detroit Edison, paying a nice dividend yield also. And this is a quick story about a client of ours who put $32,000 into Detroit Edison stock about 30 years ago, reinvested all the dividends, and guess what happened? About 30 years later, it's worth over $1 million. In fact, it's closing in at about $1.4 million. Same thing is probably going to repeat. And I say the reason why it will repeat is some things here to think about. Detroit Edison is making a ton of money on all their natural gas purchases because nat gas is at record lows, but will probably start going up, and they will start processing their repair costs for all the ice storms this past spring, late winter, and they'll pass them on to us as they typically do, and you will see about a 5 to 10% increase in our utility bills. Not good news, but good news for people who own Detroit Edison stock because it is also selling at record lows. Used to be about $140 a share. It's selling right now about 107 in that area. Here's a takeaway from today's market commentary. Oil, cheap energy. Oil is going to continue to go up, and we're all going to be paying more money because of it at the pump. We will have more inflation, but for those of you who are informed, you can become empowered and own oil stocks today in your portfolio. We look for them to continue to go up, and you're going to get paid while you wait. This is a long-term play, not just a short-term pop and you run away. It's going to continue to keep popping because it's going to take a lot of effort to repair these, shall we say, shattered or torn international relations who are going to make us hurt for the next year or two. Hope all is well. Have a great day, and we'll keep you informed as to what's hot and what's not in the market, what sectors are working, and feel free to give us a call to have your portfolio updated. Thank you very much, and have a great day.